It's no secret tracking your food intake can be tough. Between all the apps, food scales, eating out, it genuinely feels impossible, but I'm telling you, it's actually not that hard. So I'm gonna be showing you everything you need to know when it comes to tracking. So the whole point of tracking is to make sure you hit your macronutrient goals. This is your calories, protein, fats, and carbs. You can use any food tracking app that you want, but I personally like MyFitnessPal. It's super easy to use and it's free. So we're gonna navigate the app and show you how to use it. So let's start simple with whole foods. Let's just say you wanna track some cooked chicken breasts, right? You're gonna press this plus button at the bottom here, right? Go to log food, and then we're gonna type in cooked chicken breast. Now, as soon as you type that in, you're gonna see best matches, more results. Choose the one that makes the most sense. So for our case here, we're gonna do chicken breast grilled skinless. Now, as soon as you go in here, you're gonna select a meal. This doesn't matter too much. You can really do whatever meal you want. I mean, if you really wanna get super technical with it, you could throw whatever you ate in breakfast and then lunch and dinner, etc. But, you know, from my experience, whatever you get for the day is what you get for the day. So now in serving size, you wanna make sure you're selecting the correct unit. So you could do ounces, grams. From my experience, the most common ones you use is ounces and grams. I don't like to deviate too much unless it's, you know, like a cup of liquid or something like that. Then you would obviously use cups or, you know, tablespoons and stuff like that. But for our case, we're gonna do grams here, which you see 1 gram. So now number of servings, let's just say it's 120 grams of chicken. We're gonna go 120 servings of 1 gram. Boom. And then all you're gonna do, press the check mark there. Now the food has been logged. So now you can see if I go over to diary here, you'll see under breakfast, the 120 grams of chicken has been logged, 211 calories. And now if I press on the blue 2289 button, it's gonna bring up the macros. So it's gonna show my protein, fats, and carbohydrates right there. And you could always scroll through the overview, the calories, the nutrients. You can see pretty much everything right in here. So now just to show you something else, we're gonna do a quick tablespoon of butter here. All right, so we're gonna go to log food, we're gonna go to butter, we'll go unsalted, right? And you could do it in tablespoons, you could do it in grams, you could do it in whatever you want, right? So in our case here, we're gonna do 1 tablespoon. Let's just say we used half a tablespoon. We're gonna log that in. You can see 1 tablespoon, number of servings, 0.5. You know, if we had 3/4 of a tablespoon, you do 0.75, right? Let's just say we did, you know, 3/4 of a tablespoon. So we're gonna do 0.75, still under breakfast, and hit the check mark there. Now, if we go to our diary, you'll see it right here. Another way to check your progress for the day is just by pressing on this calories button here. Now you're gonna see the same screen pop up. So, you know, if you wanna check your macros for the day, go straight to the macros section, nutrients, and calories. So those are the basics when it comes to tracking. A couple really important things to keep in mind. You wanna make sure you're using the right serving size for whatever it is that you're tracking. So if you're using grams, put in grams. If you're using ounces, put in ounces. You get what I'm saying. Always specify if it's raw or cooked. If you're gonna measure it while raw, put in raw. If you're gonna measure it while cooked, put in cooked. Now, another important thing to mention is MyFitnessPal is a huge database of different foods. So try and use your best judgment as to which one to pick. I'll give you a prime example. Let's just say I go to log food here and I type in pancake, right? Now, the first one you see there, medium pancake, 141 calories, is probably a good pick, right? But if you start scrolling down, you'll see this one here, 86 calories, 1 medium, 4-inch. Like, it can get a little bit confusing. So you wanna just use your best judgment as to what you ate. You will get better as you do it. So you'll understand how much calories something should be. But again, try and use your best judgment. So now there's a couple of features that this app has to make things easier for you. One of my favorite ones that it has, if you go straight to the plus mark as if you're gonna track something, you'll see under it has the history. Okay, so this is everything that you normally have. So you'll see most recent, you know, we just tracked chicken and butter. So there it is right there. You could also sort it by most frequent too. So the things that you eat most often are gonna be right here. So, you know, after you start tracking meals that you have on a regular basis, it becomes extremely easy to just go on your recent and ping them down. So now another really cool feature that I like is you could actually make your own meals. So, you know, for example here, what I'm gonna do is, let's just say I have broccoli, chicken, and rice as a meal, like all the time, right? I would just name it chicken, rice with broccoli, right? Now we go down here, add items. So I just go grilled chicken, let's just say 6 ounces, right? We're gonna add that to the meal. Go back here. Okay, so now we're just gonna click add food. Gonna slide some broccoli in there. Let's just say 100 grams. And now we're just gonna add the rice. So we'll just say half a cup uncooked, boom. So now in here, you'll see that this entire meal, it shows the macros right there. And now if you save it, now you have it in your meal category. So when you have a meal frequently, it makes it super easy. You just go to My Meals and then press the plus button and you're done. So now let's just say you're trying to track a food that's not in the MyFitnessPal database. What you can do is you can go over to My Foods, create a food. For example here, I'm gonna do one that I know is not on here. It's sub gum wonton soup. I always get it when I have Chinese food. So I already have it, so I'm gonna go back here and you'll see what I have right there. But you know, I'm just gonna create it for you guys again, just so you could see. So we're gonna brand name, you know, you could do whatever to just put it through. As long as you know what it is, it's fine. So serving size, we'll do 1 cup, servings per container 1, description, you know, I know it's a Chinese soup, and you know, I'm gonna put right here the name I already have one named sub gum wonton, so it's not gonna register, so I'm just gonna put it like this, but you get the idea. So now you press it like this. Now you're gonna put the calories and macronutrients of that food because they don't have it in the database, so you gotta tell them what's in it or the macronutrients of it so that they know how much to log it for. So right here, let's just say 450 calories. I forget how much is it, but you get the idea. Whatever food it is that you're trying to log that's not in here, you're gonna put the macronutrients. So, you know, for this example, we'll put, you know, let's just say 25 grams of protein. Let's just say 20 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fat. We're not gonna add all the micronutrient information, we don't need it. All right, so now if we go to log food, we go to my foods, you're gonna see it right there under my foods, boom. This is the one that we just made. So now whatever food item it is that wasn't in the database, you now have it in the system so you can track it whenever you want. Now that you know how to use the tracking app, you are going to need to know how to use a food scale. A food scale makes it super easy to know exactly what you're eating. All right, so pretty straightforward. You're gonna turn the thing on, right? And then whatever container you wanna put on, throw it straight on. So something about the container, I don't like to use a paper plate because it's gonna cover the screen here. I like to use like rectangular bins or even saran wrap right over the top. It's super easy because you just pull it off and there's no dishes. But as soon as you put your container on there, you wanna press this once to just zero it out and then make sure it's on the correct unit. So I don't know if you guys could see that good there, but the main two that you're gonna use is ounces and grams. You know, it's just the easiest to log. I've always found that it's just the easiest to weigh. So, you know, we're gonna set this to grams here, just like this. Now we're just gonna, for an example here, we're just gonna pour some peanuts straight on in there. Now you'll see that's 13 grams of peanuts. So that's what you would log in your FitnessPal, right? So now if I wanted to add something else in, right, I would zero it out again, or just take the peanuts out. And then, you know, let's just say we threw some apple slices in there. That's gonna be 29 grams of apple slices, right? So you're zeroing it out, putting whatever you want on there to get the correct number. So now a super cool trick that you're definitely gonna wanna use is what I like to call the negative scale method. So now let's just say you have a bowl of something. It could be like a bowl of ground beef, a bowl of anything, right? Let's just say it's like leftover mashed potatoes or something. You're gonna put the bowl on the scale like this, right? Now you're gonna zero it out. So now that it says 0 grams, anything that you take out, that negative number, this is 7 grams of apple slices. Whatever you take out is now the number in negative of whatever you had. So if you had a bowl of mashed potatoes and you take out all the mashed potatoes, whatever that negative number is how much mashed potatoes you had. A great thing to mention is that there are a few food items most people forget to track. So I'm gonna let you know what those are just to make sure you don't forget to track them. So you got like dressings and dipping sauces. Whenever you put like a sprinkle of cheese in, you always wanna make sure you track that. Sugar and milk in your coffee. Whenever you have like just a spoonful of peanut butter or something like that, you always gotta make sure you track that. And finally, cooking oil or like butter in the pan. Now, even with these tracking methods, you are gonna run into some like ambiguous situations where you can't track it. Let's just say you're going to a restaurant or you're eating out or something where you can't weigh the food or you don't know what's in it. You don't know how much butter they put in the pan. So here's what you're gonna do if you run into that problem. So you're definitely gonna wanna get ChatGPT on your phone or any AI tool. So once you hop in here, let's just say you went to a restaurant and you ordered chicken parm, maybe you had a little bit of bread, you had some asparagus, right? So what I'm gonna type in here, I went to a restaurant, right? And I had chicken parm, a little bit of bread with butter, and some asparagus with oil, right? Garlic, that type of thing. But because you specified that it's a restaurant, they know how restaurants cook stuff, right? So you always want to specify where you're getting it. If it's a diner, a deli, whatever. Okay, so now you're going to see that they're going to give you a range for each individual thing that you had, right? So you could see here, you know, the chicken parm's there, the bread with butter, the asparagus, and then the total estimate, right? But you're gonna see that they're giving you an estimate. They're not giving you the exact because they don't know, right? They don't know the exact, but this is the best estimate they can give you. What you're gonna do is you're gonna track each individual item into FitnessPal, okay? But now in terms of which range to use, from my personal experience, you wanna use whatever is gonna help your diet, right? Because we're doing an estimate here. It's not 100% accurate. We can't track everything that we had at the dinner, right? We're not gonna pull out a food scale and start picking apart our meals, right? So we don't know the exact amount. So this is an estimate. So anytime you're estimating something, you're gonna be slightly off. And if we're gonna be slightly off, we want it to be towards our goals, not away from it. So let's just say we're trying to lose weight. You can see here the chicken parm is 900 to 1100 calories. We're gonna take the 1100 number because it would be better if we ate less calories for the day if we're trying to lose weight. So we're gonna say we had a little bit more calories. So now I'll just show you guys real quick. We'll track this whole dinner just so you get it. So we're gonna go here, chicken parm, right? So now we're not gonna have a perfect, 900 calorie option here or 1100 calorie option here, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to chicken parmesan piece without pasta down here, 324. So if we go back to ChatGPT here, you're gonna see we want 1100, right? So if we want 1100, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the number of servings, right? Because we can't go, here, we could go in grams, right? Either way, right? Math is math. So, obviously we can get it in the grams, we can get it in the servings. Doesn't really matter. But one serving, let's just say one serving 614. We want to get it as close as we can to 1100. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in 1.8. Boom. 1105, right? That's perfect. So now we're going to track that, right? We'll go back over here. The bread with butter, we're looking for 200. So I'm just going to type in bread with butter. Okay, so we got bread and butter right here. You can see this piece is 198. So what we're going to do is we're just going to type in like 1.2, right? So then boom, we got 200 there. Now we're gonna go back over here. And finally the asparagus. So we're looking for 150 on the high end with oil. So now we're gonna go over to this one here. You can see 10 spears for 75. So we're just gonna go 2 and now we got 150. So now that we got the calorie markers, we know this is gonna be accurate for our meal. And then boom, everything's tracked. So that is how you're gonna use AI to estimate certain foods that you're not gonna be able to track or you're not gonna be able to know exactly what's in it. All right, so now I'm just gonna answer a couple common issues or questions most people have. So I have them written down right here. So my entry options all look wrong, just like we ran into there. A bunch of different options, right, for the chicken parm. So, you wanna choose the one with the most sensible macro options, right? So you don't want it to sound too outlandish. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get at it. Try and keep it as simple as you can. And most importantly, if you're doing an estimate, just make sure the calories add up and do that little finagling with the serving size. Next question, do I log alcohol? I get that sometimes. Yes, of course, alcohol is still calories. You're definitely gonna wanna track that. Another question I get a lot is like the restaurant didn't list the calories. In that case, you're just gonna use the ChatGPT method, right? Use your best judgment, describe the dish the best you can to your ability so that they can give you the best estimate possible. And then of course, use the estimate that helps your goal. At the end of the day, tracking is not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Use estimates when you have to, but try and be as accurate as humanly possible. And please let me know if you guys have any questions. I'd love to answer them. Let me know in the comments below.